English by the Nature Method, Chapter 27, the 27th chapter, on board the steamer. As soon as our three young friends and their teacher had got on board the steamer which was to take them to England, they went down to their cabin with their luggage. They had got a cabin for 4 in the 3rd class, so that they were going to have it all to themselves. When they came up on deck again, they went to look at people waving their handkerchiefs and shouting goodbye to their friends. Storm, now the steamer has begun to sail. Mr. Miller, the weather is not so fine. There is a strong wind blowing now. It's strong enough to blow our hats into the water, so I think we should go down before it's too late and have our lunch with a cup of strong tea. With such a strong wind blowing, it's very possible that we shall be seasick before we get to England. And from other trips I have made by steamer, I know that it's better to have eaten something and had something to drink before the seasickness begins. Storm, I do not think it's possible for me to get seasick. I have been on the sea many times, and I never was seasick, so I do not think I shall get seasick this time, but I must say that the wind is very strong, and the waves of the sea are very big. That's the wave, that's the sea, where the boat is, or the steamer. Oh, that's nothing to speak of. Wait until we get farther out to sea, then you are going to see waves. When they came down, they sat down at a table and began to eat. Brown, which is the most important route for Europeans to England, Mr. Miller? Mr. Miller, it's difficult to say which is the most important. There are many different routes, and I have tried several of them. I think the 3 most important are Esbjerg-Harwich, the Hook of Holland-Harwich, and Calais-Dover. The Esbjerg-Harwich route is used especially by travellers coming from the north of Europe. It's a very long route. Travellers coming from Central Europe, from Germany, for example, go via the Hook of Holland-Harwich. The shortest one is the Calais-Dover route. It does not take more than an hour and a quarter to get to England by that route. Perhaps you think that there is no time to get seasick on that route, but the trip is sometimes an hour and a quarter too long when the wind is blowing hard, especially travellers from the south of Europe, so via Calais-Dover. Then there are several other routes, but there are not so much used as these 3. While they were eating and talking, the steamer got far out from land, and here the wind was blowing harder than before they began to sail. People began to leave the tables to go to their cabins. Their faces were very pale. Storm's and Wood's faces looked especially pale. They were almost white. "You look a little pale," said Mr. Miller. "Wouldn't it be better for you to go up on deck to get some fresh air?" Storm, yes, I think some fresh air would do me good. The air is very hot down here, isn't it? Wood, I think I'll go out into the air with you. I like fresh air when I have been in a hot room for some time. They went up on deck very quickly. It's 20 minutes before the steamer gets to England. The teacher and his 3 pupils are now all on the deck of the steamer, looking at the land which they can't see. Storm, I thought it impossible for me to get seasick. I was not very well when the wind was blowing its hardest and the waves were so big, but now I am all right again. Brown, smiling, nothing is impossible in this world. Mr. Miller, now we shall be in England in a short time. Before we arrive, I want to talk to you about something important. I have a good friend in London. When I go to England, I always bring a box of 50 cigars along for him. Wood, why don't you buy the box of cigars in London? Mr. Miller, because cigars are very expensive in England. You can get a cigar for a shilling, but then it's not very good. If you want a good cigar, you have to pay 2 shillings. Now, a person must not take more than 25 cigars with him through the customs into England. If you want to take more with you, you must pay duty on them. There is a high duty on tobacco in England, so even cigars from our country would be too expensive if I had to pay duty on them in England. This time I have brought 75 cigars along. 50 of them are for my friend, 25 are for myself. For the 2 weeks we are going to stay in England, now I will give each of you 20 cigars to take through the customs. I know you have brought no cigars yourselves, as you only smoke cigarettes. But I'm not sure what is meant by the words duty and customs. Mr. Miller, when you want to take things like cigars or silk stockings into a foreign country, you have to pay some money before they will let you take them with you. That's called to pay duty. The place or the office where the duty is paid by the travellers is called the custom house. You will understand that you cannot get into a foreign country without going through a custom house or going through the customs, as it is called. That is easy to understand, isn't it? Wood. Oh, yes, now I see what the words mean.